Hello and welcome to our Startup with Ferris live stream. Thank you for tuning in. What's new in the world of entrepreneurship? Well, we want to save failing business partnerships and establish successful ones. I've built and scaled 7 ventures, some to 7 and 8 figures. And in each of these ventures, I had business partners. I couldn't have done it without them. So I have a little bit of a hands-on experience when it comes to partnerships. I also hear the good, the bad, and the ugly in my work with around 50 to 100 entrepreneurs every year. So now I can tell from a distance if a partnership is going to succeed or not. It's not because I can predict the future, but it's these patterns that I see. Many of the many of these partnerships start with a handshake. Becoming business partners feels like fate, and then the honeymoon phase is bliss. But then conflict kicks in, and you start questioning everything. How did I even think I could partner with this person? See, in most cases, you're probably not wrong to partner, but I think from what I see, collectively the partners, they fail to make this partnership work. So I want to show you how I made it work in my ventures and also from the entrepreneurs I work with. And that's why I want to focus today on navigating the challenges and the conflicts that surface among partners and how to make sure you establish this partnership from the get-go, from the very beginning, to eliminate and reduce conflicts and really have a thriving partnership. In many cases, lifelong relationships with these founders and co-founders that you end up spending most of your waking hours with. But before we dive in, a couple of housekeeping items. One, whether you're watching or listening live or tuning in later, I would love to hear from you. Leave me a comment, direct message me on LinkedIn. Let me know what small or big wins you're having, what struggles or other thoughts that you may have. And let me know if there's a specific topics you'd like us to cover. We have these live streams every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, where I cover a specific topic related to entrepreneurship. And then we answer questions that come to us from the community. And last but not least, at the very end of this workshop, we have of this live stream, I have a promotion code for those of us who attend these. For those of you who attend the live streams on our Black Belt Startup program, it's a coaching and training program. So hang around and you will get that promotion code and learn more about the program. But for now, let's jump right in. So for those of you who did not attend our last session on this uh, important, I would say the most important decision you make in your business life. The most consequential decision for sure is partnership. So in the last week's live stream, we covered the types of partners you can have. You can have an active partner, someone who's building with you day to day, or you can have a silent or equity partner, someone who maybe doesn't have the time but have some funds they can help you. Maybe they can own 20% or 30% of the venture by putting in some money and you do all the work. Or we talked about some joint ventures and how you can have a joint venture with some partners, not in the core business, but maybe for an initiative or maybe an office in a specific, maybe in a new market. So we talked about that last week. And we also talked about the pros and cons of having a partner. So, and I'm just summarizing here for a couple of minutes for those of you who did not have the opportunity to listen to us last week. And the pros and cons in 30 seconds. The pros are you can share the workload, you can increase your resources because now they have 2 or 3 more people, and then you get support, especially emotional support, because it is lonely up there when you're the only one running the show. Those are the pros. The cons, you have to give up some equity, you have to give up some control. And again, when you have more than one person at the helm, disagreements arise. We also talked about how to vet those partners and how to where to find them. And I emphasized really a very important point here is that look for people to partner with in your network, your ex-colleagues, your suppliers, your vendors, friends, maybe from college, from high school, from when you were growing up, people that you trust and you have some rapport with. It's really important. Don't rush into there's a lot of resources out there. You can go on LinkedIn. You can go on, I think there's one called Co-Founders Lab, and I don't have any association with any of these, but there are a lot of ways for you to meet founders who are strangers, and that is okay. But it would be definitely my last option. So if you end up not finding anyone in your network and you're about to partner with someone with whom you don't have a lot of history, I would say walk before you run. Maybe work with them on a small project and see if the two of you or the three of you can work together well, and you can see also their values and the way they treat others and the way they react under pressure. So make sure you do that. So that's really important point. But look first and foremost, look within your network, extended network. Those are the areas you're more than likely to find someone who'll be a good fit to be a partner. And then we talked about partnering with friends and family and how to keep it all professional, keep the home stuff at home and the business stuff at work, and that you should definitely make sure everything is well documented and you have contracts and you have agreements in place, even if it's your best friend and maybe it could be your spouse, making sure everybody has a good understanding of their expectations, the good understanding of who owns what, and how you deal with a lot of the challenges that will come up when you are building and growing a business. So, speaking of working with family, let me kick us off with this time when I hired my son. So back when we couldn't afford a bookkeeper, my sorry, a bit under the weather today or allergies, I'm not sure. My son stepped in to help, and at that time he lived at home, and he was pursuing a business degree with a focus on accounting. So a perfect match, right? While the collaboration was great initially, the boundaries between work and home soon dissolved. So any disagreements we had at home, they carried over to the workplace, and it created a whole lot of friction in return. I was both his manager at work and his father at home, and it was easy for me to give an employee the benefit of the doubt when working through maybe a challenge, but I knew what this employee, my son, was doing during his time off. So I thought I couldn't cut him any slack. So in short, I was he could have done a little bit more, but I was being unfair in critiquing his shortcomings and what he could have done more, and maybe I didn't give him enough support. And my unfairness, in my mind, strained that relationship. Uh, Everything is got better later, but at the time it was difficult. So this is just my son helping me with some bookkeeping activities. Imagine if you have a family member, a spouse or a brother or sister, or a close friend, and they're now with you as your partners on this long journey where each of you are putting 10, 12, maybe 14 hours a day, going through a lot of challenges. So if you don't have things sort of separated, home stuff stays at home, work stuff stays at work. We understand the expectations. We understand who makes decisions on what. That's really important when it comes to family. So moving on to not and not to say that family members can't work together. A lot of businesses actually do well when family members are working together, because the trust level is really high, and you can lean on them and they know you know them. You complement each other really well. But if things are not well defined in terms of roles and responsibilities, and also equity and the financial part, if that's not well defined, it's sort of the root cause of many of the issues between partners. But now let's move on to the next section on establishing a successful partnership. Um, Once you found this ideal business partner, and one of the things I always say is that when money exchanges hands, when there's a financial transaction, it's really important to document things and to put things in writing. And this, it could be a quick chat and maybe a quick email. That's fine. Just initially, when maybe you're vetting the idea of partnering, but once you are serious about getting together, getting to the business, putting money in the business, starting to dedicate more time for this business that you're creating, it's crucial to have a legal agreement between the two of you. Now, I'm not a lawyer. I'm not going to give you any legal advice. This is the advice of my lawyer. They say this on this video, but I want to highlight the components and the things you want to discuss with your partner before you go to the lawyer. So this way you go prepared. Of course, you can go online and search for operating agreements or shareholder agreements, and you can ask Gemini or ChatGPT, and they'll give you a template with probably a good with some good content. But obviously, you wanna refine this so that it fits your what's important to you, what's important to your partner, um, and then you go to an attorney equipped with knowledge, and then you have answers for what they are likely to ask you. So this agreement, it could be thought of as a roadmap. It outlines your rights, your partner's rights, the responsibilities, and also expectations. So here are the main sections, or main topics you want to discuss with your partner before you go to a lawyer. And again, a good lawyer would walk you through these, would give you some options, but I think it's important for you to think about it, especially if you're thinking about reaching out to a partner. So have those um, points I'm about to cover. Think through them, and then identify what you think fits for you, what works for you, and then you might have to negotiate this with your potential partner. So the first thing is, and let me make sure we're good on tech. I think we are all good. So ownership structure. So you have to clearly define each person's ownership percentage in the equity stake in the business. And you want to do this ahead, before any money is invested in the business, before any like someone leaves their job and they're ready to partner with you, and then maybe they're expecting that they'll have 50% ownership, and in your mind they only should get 20%. I mean, I've seen this. So this is what I said earlier, or maybe last week, is I've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly. People, because the trust level, if it's a friend or a family member, we trust them very well. We kind of maybe take things, lean on them. We sort of take things for granted, that we're not gonna disagree on certain things. But you have to define this. This is really important. If someone leaves their job, or someone makes a specific commitment, or maybe they take some money out of their savings with a certain expectation of ownership, and you have a completely different perspective on it, that is going to be probably a showstopper from the very beginning, and you probably strain that relationship. So talk about ownership, and then, again, there's a process to, if someone's putting a lot of money and very little effort, and you're putting a lot of effort and very little money, maybe it'll be a nice 50-50 split. Or if you're putting money and time and effort, and you're doing most of the work, and they're just maybe a passive, silent partner, maybe they can get to 10% or 20%. And again, talk to other business owners and research online. A good attorney will give you some options, so both of you can land on something that works for both of you. Now, the second thing is, now that we've got the equity structure, who owns what, roles and responsibilities. That's another area where I've seen a lot of challenges. So ideally, and what we discussed last week, is when you're looking for a partner, you're looking for someone to complement you. So you're amazing, you have the grit, you have the drive, you want to conquer the world, you want to move mountains, you want to build the next amazing company, Yes, but we all have shortcomings. We all have areas where we could need help with. So an ideal partner would be someone who would come in, excuse me, who would come in and actually complement so what you have. So if you're great at sales, you can go and spark a conversation with someone, and get to know them, and listen to their needs, and you can pitch and sell, like, sort of without a whole lot of preparation. This is just your natural at it, or maybe you've built that skill. That's great. But maybe excuse me, you're terrible at delivering the service that you just sold. So finding someone who's really good at delivery will help. Or maybe you're just not good in accounting and back office and hiring. You just want to be out there marketing the business. So finding someone who will complement you is important. So define the roles and responsibilities, who's going to be doing what, and go with a certain level of details. I think that's really detailed. That's really important. So again, you leave less for you leave less room for people to disagree, for you and the partner to disagree. The third thing is decision making. So how do we decide on certain things? And I'm talking about, we want to buy a computer or whatever, but maybe, yeah, even that. Like, are we going to go with, like, top of the line computers, or are we going to go with something that will get us by, right? So spending, maybe it'll be a joint decision on spending anything above maybe $500. Then I've seen it where, especially as the business is more established. Like this founder, they have the decision authority to, in their area of the business, and then the other founder, they will have the authority to make decisions in the other area of the business, and each partner has a veto power, right? So especially on major decisions, we want to put money into the business, we want to take money out of the business, we want to maybe get another partner, maybe we want to uh, even sort of um, hiring, the pace of hiring, the pace of growth, because all of that impacts people's time and effort, that they put into the business. So if you want to go at 120 miles an hour and your partner is totally happy going at 65 miles an hour, that's going to create some tension. So agree on on how you will make a decision, and see if you can potentially include, like, you'll if, especially if you're getting stuck, maybe you can find someone that whom you both trust, and someone who knows your business and know your sector and know the type of services that you offer. They'll probably be a good third party to reach out to. Not a lawyer. I'm not saying you go to talk to a lawyer, but find someone potentially who can help you navigate some of these tough decisions. And then another point here that you definitely want to include in terms of expectation settings, and also in the agreement, is finances and profit distribution, and also how to deal with losses. So let's say in a couple of years you're very profitable and you have, let's say, $200,000 in the bank. Again, your partner might be thinking, "Oh my goodness, I'm going to take half of that because I'm a 50% partner, and I want to pay off some of my debt. I want to go on this nice vacation. I want to put a down payment for a house," whatever the case might be. And in your mind, you want to put every penny of that profit into growing the business. You want to reinvest in the business. So those are also important things to discuss. How is it that we will deal with profits, and also if there are losses, how do we fund the business? Do I take a personal loan? Do I tap into my savings? Do we take a line of credit? Do we do a business loan? So talking about these different options and have some general guidelines in the agreement is important. And then a couple more things here before we move to the next section. In terms of dispute resolution, I alluded to this a little bit, but how will you resolve? How you make decisions, and who makes decisions on what, and then how you resolve conflict. And again, these might be awkward discussions, especially early on when you're in this honeymoon phase where all the partners, if more than two, or the two partners, are, they're super excited about the idea. They want to go and build and sell, and you see maybe some good traction, but then problems will arise, conflicts will arise, disagreements will arise, even if you and your business partner, you've known each other for 20 years, and you're just your best friends. There will be different perspectives on things. So how you resolve conflict is really important. Again, things like I said, come up with a plan where you meet, put it on the calendars from early on. So this way it's not awkward. You only meet when there's an issue. Like have a weekly or a monthly or a quarterly, where on a weekly, those weekly one-on-one, you and your business partner or business partners go over the things that happened this week, and okay, here's how we align. And then maybe on the monthly or the quarterly meeting that you have, you just you got to bring it up. You got to put it. What I used to do, I used to have this Google Doc, and I would just, when things come up that I didn't like, or I'm not happy with, or I think my partner should have done something he couldn't, I would just add these points to the Google Doc, and the Google Doc is attached to our calendar invite. So when we meet once a month or once a quarter, things, I have some specific incidents or some specific uh, a specific piece of information or data about something that happened that I want to discuss with my partner, and then we would just discuss it through. And then a lot of times when we come with a you know serious issue, and we just don't see eye to eye on that, I would tap into, we had a good lawyer, my friend Dan, who was very savvy in business, and we would call him not really for like legal advice, but it was more like, "Hey Dan, and this will cost us a pretty penny, but it was worth it because he's a third party. He's just looking after what's best for the business, and he wasn't like representing me or my partner. He was just a good advisor, and he would walk us through pros and cons just as a third party, and that helped us a lot. So find people that I think can, come up with an internal process between you and your partner to address these things. Again, any urgent things should be addressed right away, but most things can wait when the emotions are not as high, when everything sort of everyone has, they've calmed down. So address it during your one-on-one, or whether it's weekly, monthly, or quarterly. And then the other thing, and maybe the last point, and it's the last point here, sorry, it's on exit strategies. So exit strategies, meaning both for individuals and also for the enterprise. So your partner might want to uh, leave they're thinking to leave the business. Once we're profitable, I want to package the business and sell it. Or once we're profitable, I want to hang around for another year and then leave. Or once we're profitable and we've made it, I want to get my son in and I want to leave and go to Hawaii, whatever. On your end, you might be thinking, I'm going to just, once I figure it out and I'm making good money and a good margin, I want to retire in this thing. So defining the terms of when a partner wants to leave, it's really important. Again, during the honeymoon period, no one is thinking of separation, but these things will happen. And again, there are worse, there are other cases when someone, maybe they get sick, they have mental issues, maybe they have to spend a whole lot of time at home because they have to take care of things at home. They're going through a divorce, they're taking care of their aging parents. I mean, there are all these things that happen in life that will happen to you. Not all of them at the same time, but these scenarios do come up. So defining how a partner could reduce their involvement or maybe exit the business and how that will be dealt with is really important. So again, discuss these awkward things early on when everybody's happy with each other during the honeymoon period. This way, you don't have to deal with it as an unknown, or maybe with some ambiguity when it happens later and when everyone is tense and the emotions are high. Again, the agreement could be very long and addresses a lot of things, but those are, in my mind, those are the things you want to discuss in with a certain amount of detail with your partner or partners. Again, research. You can we have a playlist on partnership and business planning, so check those out. We'll leave the link in the description. But do your own research and then um, get an attorney. Set aside some money. You can't go cheap on lawyers, and negotiate maybe a startup rate with your attorney, and have them walk you through this contract. It'll be comprehensive. It'll be probably have more pages than you want, but it will help you. It will help prevent misunderstandings and protect your interest, your team interest, and hopefully it'll ensure you have a long-term, a lifelong partnership and friendship with people who are with you in the trenches building this amazing company that you are building. So let me pause and see what questions we have. Do you ever revise a partnership agreement? Short answer is yes. Um, Typically, you'd have, again, if an LLC, it'll be an operating agreement, or if it's a C corp, S corp, it'll be a shareholder agreement. But the idea is you'll have amendments to it. So, for example, I know in one of my ventures, there were two of us, and then we wanted a third partner to come in and help us build. So we amended that contract to include the third partner, and then we had to go and revisit these items. Okay, so equity. So I'm going to have. So I had, let's say, 50%, and my other partner has 50%. Now with this new partnership, we're going to take maybe X from me and Y from my partner and give it to this new partner. So that was one incident. Or again, if someone is exiting, if you have three partners and one of them is leaving, okay, is someone buying their equity? Okay, like how you vote on things, that would be part of the structure of the agreement, who has the final say on certain things. So if someone is coming into the partnership, if someone is leaving, that has to be readdressed. So typically, yeah, when one of these, if something major changes in those areas that we discussed, then the agreement should be amended. Or for example, you're doing really well, it was a struggle for the first year, and now you're profitable. You see the light at the end of the funnel, at the end of the tunnel, and now you want to invest more because you can scale that success that you've had. So you need to put money. into the business, and your partner, one of the partners has access to funds and the other doesn't. So how do you deal with that? So yes, you you would amend the contract based on changes in these major areas of the relationship. Cool. All right. So the next section here is on navigating challenges of partnership. So we covered some of this in last week's uh, live stream. So if you did not get a chance to watch it, we'll add the link in the description so you can see it. You can watch it, and hopefully that will help. But there are a couple of things I want to highlight, and I want to go over a couple of examples here. One, I was speaking with a recent founder. I was recently speaking with a founder, a new founder, who just finished college, and one of their college friends wanted to partner with them, and one of them is very technical, and he's building the product, and the other person was more on the marketing side. And when I spoke with the founder, um, one of them, and I I was just trying to understand the setup and how what they have in writing, and if they have an agreement, and some of the challenges they're facing. It turned out that they have no agreement. They never talked to a lawyer, and just I just remember what I said earlier about trends, and you see patterns. Uh, I just It was very obvious. He was putting all the time to build programming, coding, defining the features of the product. And he's expecting his partner to be out there selling and marketing. Well, not selling yet because the product is not ready, but he wants his partner to spend as much time building a pipeline and going to these conferences and finding potential future buyers and understanding what the competition is doing. So he's putting 20, 30 hours a week. He was just still wrapping up his work at the university before he graduated, or I think he had some follow up courses he was taking. So he wasn't going full time at it yet, but he was putting 20, 30 hours a week, and his partner is putting a couple of hours a week. So he was unhappy, disgruntled. This was about to explode. So I told him, my friend, my recommendation is, he's your best friend, excellent. You know him well, excellent. You know his work ethic, excellent. So maybe there's something going on in his life, or maybe he doesn't know that he has to be putting this kind of time. So put time on your calendar, on his calendar, get together on a weekly basis, put together both the technical goals you want to do over the next week or two or three, and also the business goals. So he's responsible for the business goals or business tasks, and you are responsible for the technical ones. So that happens. I mean, I was surprised. A very bright individual, very smart technically, but he doesn't have that entrepreneurship experience. And just because he's working with his best friends or his best friend, he thought, you know, things will work out. No, things will explode. It'll be a disaster if we don't address these foundational things early on. So let me see, before I go to the second example, do we have any questions? Or let me see. No, I think we're good for now. I think we have another one later. Okay, so we'll just go over this next point. So another example is personal from one of my ventures, where I partnered with someone who's a close friend. I've worked with them in two previous ventures, and I've known them for 12 years now. Um, and we work well, really together. We complement each other. We understand each other really well, and our trust goes deep and wide. But we both understand the importance of having a formal agreement in place. So I reached out to my friend, mutual friend, a lawyer, Jeff, and we told him we did not want to get an attorney to represent me and an attorney to represent him. That just did not make sense for us, because we just want to have something that is fair, that's well documented, and that protects our rights and our interests. So we had a session with Jeff, and we went through a list of questions that Jeff sent our way, and we ended up with an agreement that is 53 pages. Excuse me, sorry about that. That is 53 pages long, and we're both shocked. Oh my goodness, And then we went back to Jeff and say, hey, Jeff, what's up with this? He said, well, why don't you go through these 53 pages and tell me which section you want to remove? Because each section is there for a purpose. And he was right. And I've known Jeff for, I don't know, probably 10 years now. And I've worked with him on many contracts. So he's a friend. He's a lawyer. He's a friend. He's a trusted advisor. So we went through this document, and my partner and I, and it was Jeff was right. Like, we need to address and come to an understanding on many aspects of the business. So this may seem excessive, but it is the prudent thing to do to ensure that everyone is on the same page, and everyone they see what's theirs and what's not, and they this kind of thinking and this sort of diligence will protect both the business and the friendship. So don't skip this step. A well drafted partnership agreement can save you from a whole lot of headaches down the road. And again, it's going to cost you maybe $1,000, $2,000, whatever. But whatever you do, don't pick up something from ChatGPT or off the internet and sign it with your partner. You can pick something off of ChatGPT and give ChatGPT the amazing prompt about your situation, and whatever document it output, that's great to read it, understand it, but have a lawyer develop something professional, comprehensive, that fits your purposes and your partner's purposes. Because even the strongest business partnerships can face rough waters and can face a lot of challenges, because there'll be unforeseen challenges, there'll be disagreements, there'll be changing circumstances that can put a whole lot of strain on your collaboration. So that was one type of, sort of how to deal with it ahead of time proactively. One common thing I hear from founders is about my business partner is making decisions without me. So you feel sidelined in your own business. Your partner is making these unilateral decisions, and it's bugging the heck out of you. And so you have to address this power imbalance. Um, and again, we can easily jump to conclusions and say, my partner is selfish, my partner is a jerk, my partner is not considerate, they have some hidden agenda. Like, you can come up with all these things. Don't do that. My recommendation is try open communication. Again, it's really important to set up these weekly, monthly, quarterly sessions between you and the partner, not to work in the business about this client or this software you want to implement or this issue with the employee. You want to just spend time thinking, brainstorming, about the business. So you want to work on the business, not in the business, in these sessions. And again, have a Google Doc, and then throughout the week, throughout the month, add items that come up that are causing you headache and causing you stress, and they should do the same. And then you can then discuss it openly, because now it's a matter of process. Like, I don't have to set up a meeting to discuss an issue. It's sort of awkward. Again, unless it's an urgent thing that you have to address. A client is about to leave, or someone is about to leave, or there's no money in the bank and payrolls around the corner. So those you have to address right away. But things that could wait, add them to this agenda that you have between you and your partner in the one-on-one session. And then you can express these concerns. You can express your feelings honestly. And again, always, as the late Stephen Covey said in his amazing book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, he said one of the habits is seek to understand before you seek to be understood. So you never know. People make decisions or behave based on assumptions, based on their understanding of things, based on their perspective, based on how they used to do things, based on their upbringing, you name it. So when you have a partner in the business, you want to listen to their perspective. You want to listen to their rationale behind specific things, and then agree on how to deal with these sort of things in the future. So if your partner is making financial decisions without your discussion, without checking with you, in those meetings, you agree that, hey, my friend, anything above X, anything above $1,000, anything above $500, we want to discuss jointly before you make a decision. Or in sales and marketing, you decide. in implementing and delivering of the service, and in HR, I decide. So again, have it very clear, as we said earlier, on how those decisions are made. This way, it avoids this conflict, or this potential conflict where decisions are made and you're not being consulted. And this, everything I'm covering here also applies to your first hires, especially if you're hiring senior people. You want to treat them, and we have a video coming up on this, on creating a excuse me, a people first culture, which was something I've experienced. I learned a lot to get to that point, but it helped me grow the businesses to 7 8 figures. Is the team, the amazing team that you have. So everything I'm saying here about partners, you also want to keep in mind when you hire senior people as your, especially your first employees. You wanna involve them in the decision making process. You wanna make sure you meet with them and understand their concerns. You wanna, give them the space to operate in their domain. So those things also apply to people that you hire. But we're talking about partners here. Hiring and your first hires is a subject of another live stream. Cool. So what if you're having these meetings with your partner, and you are reminding them to do things, and they're just, it's not working out? I think, in my experience, if communication fails, I mean, it shouldn't. I think reasonable, smart, 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 and sincere people always find ways to work things out. If you're sincere and your partner is sincere and both are smart and you're starting this business, I think you get together over a meal and open up. You'll figure things out. But if that's not working, I think, as I said, bring someone, a third party, not an attorney initially, because attorney and legal, it could potentially uh, add more undue pressure on that whole discussion. So bring someone both of you trust, or maybe you speak with someone, they speak with someone, and then bring it back and discuss it next week. A lot of these things could wait. You don't have to make a decision right away when the emotions are high. So hey, like, we don't agree. We agree to disagree. Okay. So why don't we do our own research? Check online. Go and talk to people we know, and then come back in a week with data, with examples, and potentially invite someone, take someone out to lunch. Again, someone both of you trust, and then have them share with you their experience. And you can hire an advisor, of course, to help you navigate this. It is common, but you want to have that partnership. You want to be like, you should not be an inch apart. If you Because you, as leaders, co-leaders of an organization, I think it was the CEO of Microsoft, Satya Nadella, I'm going to just butchered his name, but he said, if his senior leaders are um, an inch apart, then the organization and the different departments will be miles apart. So you and your partner might disagree on certain things, might have different different perspectives, different maybe ways of doing things. But in terms of the direction of the company, in terms of the list of priorities, in terms of key important areas of the business, you want to be on the same page, on the same line, on the same letter. Because if you're prioritizing this thing and he or she are prioritizing another thing, this is just gonna it's just going to make sure it's going to confuse everybody in the organization. So this open communication is not only helpful and healthy for the relationship between the partners, it's also important for the entire organization. And then, in a worst case scenario, you're still not agreeing on things, you might have to go and check with an attorney. And the good thing is, by that time, you have an agreement. I'm hoping that you listened and you invested in a bit of money to have an agreement, and that would be the source. That would be where you would go back and say, okay, here's what we agreed to on how we will resolve A. It was detailed out in the agreement. And then the last point I want to cover here before we wrap up is, in terms of that open communication that I mentioned, it's really important. I mean, you are the founder. You set the tone for the organization. You For the organization. You set the tone. Your behavior, the way you behave, the way you talk, will set the tone for the entire organization. So if you tell everybody, I want us to be responsive to our team members and responsive to our clients, and you're the least responsive person, guess what the culture of the company will be? You will not have responsiveness as a value for your organization. So, so, so you have to. I think that open communication and honest communication between the partners is really important, and you want to be very transparent. You want to be um, like, if something is really bothering you, don't let it fester. If something you're not happy about how things are done, you gotta have a mechanism to address it, and it all starts with open and honest communication. So, and once you and the partner have that, then you can also it can also be part of how you run the organization. So I used to be not I used to be, I'm still in all my ventures, I'm very open about financials, revenue, profit, and then how we're tracking against our financial objectives. So I would share, like, on a monthly basis, on a quarterly basis, I would share, like, here are our numbers. And one of my partners wasn't on the same page. He said, "Why are we sharing all these details? People will know how much money we're making, or if we're not making money, people might be concerned and might leave the company because they might think that, hey, we might run out of business, and they don't want to be laid off, so they'll leave us." So we it took us a while to land on something where we both agreed that the culture we want to build is a culture based on openness and honesty and transparency. So we we shared a whole lot of details, like the entire P&L, with our senior team. Our We had like 7 VPs in our team, and then we just removed a few things from that and shared with the rest of the organization. I mean, there's some certain things just didn't make sense to share with folks in terms of um, I mean, when it came to like bonuses and all of that, certain things are kind of borderline HR related type information, so we don't want to share that. But for the senior team, we were extremely transparent. They're just like co-founders, so they knew everything. And I think that that helped it helped build the trust between not just the founders but also the senior team, and everybody knew what we are doing, how we are doing financially. And when we were not doing that great, everybody put in the extra effort to maybe get us the next deal, or maybe help make sure the client who was unhappy now super satisfied. Or maybe when we had issues with morale, someone would kind of step in and do things on their own to help us address these morale issues. So being very transparent in my ventures helped me a lot, and I advise people to do that. Again, there's a lot of these things. There's no one formula. There's a science to it, and there's also an art to it, and it depends on your personality. So keep in mind that between you and your partner, you want to be fully transparent, whether it's issues or concerns or hopes and aspirations. There shouldn't be really any surprises, and that open, regular communication, whether it's meetings, check-ins. You decide to go every Friday afternoon, the last Friday of every month, we go out on a walk and we talk about things, whatever that is. Make it part of your calendar and have an agenda for it, and add items to that Google Doc. So things, that you'll be addressing those things in when you meet with your partner. All right. So those are things from the trenches, things that helped me, and things that have helped other founders I speak with. And in terms of next steps on your end, if you are thinking of building a business, starting a business, growing a business, there are a lot of data that shows that having a business partner will help you get there faster, get to your destination faster. So subscribe to the channel if you like this content, you want to get more of it. You have it on the screen. Would appreciate a like and a share, or whichever platform you're on, whether it's Instagram or X or Facebook. Hit the like button, share, leave us a comment, ask us questions if something's not clear, something we haven't addressed. We'd appreciate that. And we also have our Black Belt Startup with Ferris program, as I mentioned earlier. We just launched it a couple weeks ago, and it is a training and coaching program with an online course. We have a free course, so you can sign up for it. It has 11 modules on every aspect of the business. And then there's a paid membership where we work with you to develop a personalized roadmap. We have a complete curriculum that we're dropping every week. We'll have a couple of modules coming in. And then we have a 30-minute session with me every month. And we also have office hours. So you can read the asynchronously, watch the videos, read the content, and then you can come to the office hours where you can bring up your questions, and we have other founders there who can also could benefit and share their experiences. So that's on the program, and we do have a special offer. Excuse me. Before that, we do have, if you're new to the community, so I'm into martial arts, I'm in Aikido. So the program is called Black Belt Startup. It is based on um, a time tested principles in martial arts that apply to business as well, about discipline, about focus, about deliberate practice. So that's hence the name Black Belt Startup. And last but not least, we do have a promotion. We do have a promo code for those of you who are attending this live stream. It's live stream, all one word, 10 live stream 10. It's 10% off for 3 months. So take advantage of this promo code. But you can get the free course anytime, and then see if you like it, if it applies to you. But if you are thinking of starting a business, or you want to grow the business and you're stuck, I believe this course or this program is for you. And we have a 30-day money guarantee. If you sign up with the full membership and you don't like it, just let us know. No question asked. We will refund the amount. But that's it for today. Let me see if we have any other questions. We can answer them. If not, we can move on, and we can hope to see you next time. Yeah, we do have a question. Let me wrap up with that. How is management responsibility usually split between partners? There's no one formula. I think you could have someone the CEO and then someone the COO. You can have someone, I think aside from titles, and titles are important, but aside from title, I think look at what skills you are bringing to the business, what skills your partner is bringing to the business, and what areas of the business you'll each be leading, and that basically, you want to manage your area, they want to manage their area, and then on big decisions you come together and agree on how to go forward. So I think I would tie it definitely to the areas of focus. Like you want to make a decision, a solid decision, based on expertise, based on experience, based on what you're seeing day in, day out. So it's logical that you decide, and you have management responsibility, hiring, firing, growing, investing in that area. And then your partner has responsibilities for other areas. And then again, both of you agree that on certain decisions, we each have a veto power. That's one way. I mean, you can put that actually in the agreement as well. But it could be a practical thing that you apply, in your day-to-day opportunity. But yeah, let's see. Do we have any other questions, or was that the last one? I think that was the last question. So again, thank you so much for tuning in. Again, if you like this content, hit the subscribe button, and would appreciate a like and a share. And check out the blackbeltstartup.com. We have a free course, and we have a lot of information about the full membership. And if you find this useful, if you find it of interest, we would love to hear from you, and we'd love to have you part of the community. Thank you so much, and see you next time.